Hey guys, I'm Dr. T, and this episode I will be talking about the anatomy of the vulva, which is a term that describes the area around the vaginal opening. So, first things first, I have my props here. I will be talking about the hymen, my hymen diagram here, and the outside structures with my towel here. So let's start with that. So this is roughly what the vulva will look like. So you have the labia majora, which is going to be the outer lips of the private area, and then the labia minora, or the inner lips. So the majora and the mons pubis here, so the top part of it, this is where the pubic hair will be. So around the top, again here, of the labia majora. Now the labia minora, where the two of them meet up, is where the clitoris is found. And the clitoris is the comparable body part to the penis, in that it's going to be the place where most females feel the most intense sexual pleasure. So, important spot to know. So, again, the labia minora, they can look like a variety of different things. So, sometimes they can be concealed within the labia majora. Sometimes they can be outside of the majora. Sometimes one is going to be a little bit larger than the other. The skin can be a little bit darker than the surrounding skin. The skin can be a little bit lighter than the surrounding skin. All of these things are absolutely normal. Lastly, you might notice that the skin is a little bit floppier or wrinkly. Also normal. So let's go back a little bit here. So as we're talking about skin, go back to the labia majora here. Around the edge, you may actually see little bumps, white bumps there. These are called Fortis spots. They're just little glands. Nothing to worry about. Penises actually have them as well sometimes. So now as we move down, we have the clitoris, and then the next tiny hole is going to be the urethra, or the pee hole. And then the next larger opening is going to be the vagina. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So this is my diagram for the vagina, the vaginal opening. And I want to talk specifically about the hymen. There are a lot of myths around the hymen. What it is just a piece of extra skin. So skin that surrounds the opening to the vagina. And that's what the hymen is. This is what the majority of hymens will look like. Makes it possible for you to put in a tampon or a menstrual cup or a finger. And then usually if something larger like a penis is inserted, there might be some tearing of the hymen. But it's important to know that the hymen can be torn or larger regardless of putting things into the vagina. Which means if we were to do an exam and the hymen were to be opened up, that does not tell me if there has ever been anything placed in there, because the hymen can actually break when you're riding a bike or a horse, doing gymnastics. All sorts of things can cause a hymen to break. So just by looking at the hymen, you can't tell if anyone's put anything in the vagina. So that's important to know. That's another reason why you don't have to wait until anything else has been put in the vagina to use a tampon. You should be able to use a tampon whenever you are ready. So, again, this is what most hymens will look like. Now, a couple of variants. Sometimes the hymen will have a piece of tissue that goes across the middle of the vagina. And this is called a septate hymen, where there's a piece of tissue running down the middle of the vaginal opening. This may or may not end up being an issue for you. Sometimes putting in a tampon or having a finger or penis penetrate the vagina can cause the septum to tear, and it's not a big deal. Other times you might need a doctor to help you open it up. Specifically, a doctor can give you things called dilators that you place into the hymen that slowly stretches it out over time. So it doesn't hurt, but that's a possibility as well for you. So again, septate hymen. One more variant I'll talk about is the cribriform hymen. So this is going to be one of the least common, but it still happens, variants. So if you can see here, there are little holes in the hymen. Now, that will allow some vaginal fluid, including period blood, to leak out, but you won't be able to insert a tampon or a finger or a penis. So, if this happens, you will have to talk to a doctor about how to open it up. Finally, the most rare of all, the imperforate hymen. So, no hole at all. Again, this is very rare, but if this is what happens to you, you will not notice any sort of vaginal discharge, you won't have a period, but you may start to feel a little bit of a bulge down there. Or if you take a look with a mirror, you'll see a bulging hymen with some fluid behind it, or period blood. A doctor will have to help you open up the hymen in that case as well. But that wraps up our vagina talk. Hope everything makes sense, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section.